Okay, thank you so much, everybody. As always, the tefillos are so beautiful, and we're so privileged to have you all say them. So I want to, again, the brilliant Shoshie Nissenbaum, who is brilliant, and just we've been privileged to have her a few times, and I feel so privileged to have really gotten to know her a little bit more through her amazing teachings and how she teaches, and you just feel her love. Not just her teaching, but her love and her love of Am Yisrael. So thank you so much, Shoshie. I just want to mention, if anybody wants to stay on, if we have a little bit, 5 minutes at the end, if you want to introduce yourself, we haven't done a share in a while, and we get on together every single day. I see these names, and I would love just to hear where you're from. I know some people want to stay private, but if you would be willing, just a few people afterwards, that would be so great. Yeah, Shoshie. She's also one of my all-time favorites. So let me just introduce, 1 second, just lost my place, I apologize. So Hashem has gifted Shoshie Nissenbaum with the zchus to teach Torah to women for over 25 years. And she has lived up to that zchus. Her shiurim are available online. Hundreds of women participate in her spheres on their account. And in pre-corona days, her trips to Kivrei Tzadikim. Shoshie teaches in Israel, in Israeli and American seminaries, and is a professional mediator in To'enet Rabbanit. She lives in Ramat Beit Shemesh. Feel very, very privileged. Thank you so much. I'm going off. Shoshie, you there? Shoshie? Let me see if
I'm here. Okay. Hi.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to, good morning, good afternoon to everyone, maybe good night. I don't know, maybe we have people in Australia here too. I am giving over this share and learning with you from my phone, which is not my optimal choice. And also I'm not in really such an optimal place, but will Bezos Hashem Yisparach will give us a lot of siyata d'shmaya. So tomorrow is Purim Katan. Today is, I guess, Tanis Esther Katan. And the following day, on Wednesday, is going to be Shushan Purim Katan. So what is this Katan here? And there's this incredibly fascinating idea that the Lubavitcher Rebbe explained. And the Rebbe says the following. He quotes the last siman in the Shulchan Aruch, in the section of Orach Chaim. Orach Chaim is how we lead our daily life. What do we do when we wake up? What do we do when we wash our hands? How do we daven? What time do we need to daven? Mincha, what do we do on special days? Orach Chaim, which literally means the path of life, is our daily planner. It's our Jewish daily planner. So the last piece in our Jewish daily planner, in this section of the Shulchan Aruch, written by the Mechaber Rav Yosef Cairo, he writes, the last siman is about Purim Katan, okay? And he writes, Yom Yud Dalet V'Tet Vav, the 14th and 15th, Sheba Adar Rishon, Ein Neiflim Al Pneihem, we don't do Tachanun, Ve'ein Oimim Mizmor Yancho Hashem B'Yom Torah, Perek Chof, which is said also, attached to Tachanun. We don't say that Perek either on the 14th and 15th of Adar Aleph. The Asurim behefseid v'tanis, and we don't do any hefseidim, we don't give eulogies, and we don't fast. Aval shar dvarim ein nohagim behem, but the other mitzvahs of Purim, Mikra Megillah, giving mishloach manos, matanos le'evyonim, Mishta we'll get to shortly, we don't do that. V'yesh oimim da'af behefsed v'tanis mutarim. And then the Shulchan Aruch, the Mechaber, in his style, when he brings another opinion, he says, and there are those who say that hefsed, that giving eulogies and tanis and ta'anit and fasting are actually permitted. And then we have Hege, then we have the Ramah of Moshe Isserles, who he was Ashkenazi. The Mechaber was the Sephardic Rav Yosef Cairo. He wrote the Shulchan Aruch, and Moshe Isserles, the Ramah, who is to this day buried in Krakow, whose yahrzeit is Lag BaOmer, as Rabbi Shimon's is, and it was the big minhag in Europe to go to the kever of the Ramah on Lag BaOmer, Yud Chet Iyar. He wrote if there was a difference in the Ashkenazic opinion, if Ashkenazim paskin differently than the Mechaber, he added on his notes, okay, to the Shulchan Aruch. So he writes, "Minhag kisvara rishona," and the way our custom is like the first minhag, which is brought down in the Shulchan Aruch, which is we do not say tachanun, and we do not say perek chaf, and we do not do eulogies, and we do not fast. V'yesh oimrim, and then he brings another day. Yesh oimrim shechayev laharbos b'mishte u'b'simcha. There are those who say not that it's a minhag, not that it's a custom, but it's a chiyuv. It is an obligation to increase our and have a mishteh, to increase our food and our joy on the 14th of Adar Rishon. And this he brings in the Torah in the name of the Rif. Ve'ein nohagin ken, but we don't follow that it's a chiyuv, that it's an obligation. Mikol makom, in any event, yarbik tzad b'suda, a person should have something special to eat on Yodalit kedei latzeit yedei hamachmirim, in order to fulfill the ideal, the opinion of those who are strict, which is the smak. B'toiv leiv mishte tamid, and then the Ramah ends and he closes the Shulchan Aruch or Achayim by the pasuk from Mishlei, which says toiv leiv mishte tamid, that a person who has a toiv leiv, who has a good heart, a person who is happy, who is content, this person, it's like he's at a party all the time. This is a pasuk from Mishlei, and the Lubavitcher Rebbe, in a sicha which he gave over twice, which is a very unusual thing, points out that Orach Chaim starts with the word tamid and ends with the word tamid. It starts with tamid shivisi Hashem v'negdi samid. The Ramah says when a person wakes up in the morning, the first thing they need to be cognizant of is that they are living, breathing, moving within Hashem's presence. Shivisi Hashem v'negdi samid, and therefore he is gaber ke'ari. A person has to be strong like a lion, and swift like a leopard, and light like an eagle, and etc. In order, and why do we do this? Because we're cognizant of tamid, this word tamid, and the Shulchan Aruch or Achayim closes with the word tamid by saying toiv leiv, a person who has a good heart, mishte tamid, he's in a constant party, right? He's partying all the time. What does this mean to tell us? So first of all, the Rebbe points out that isn't it amazing that what does the Ramah come to teach us? How does he come to teach us that a person should be happy all the time? Which is, this is, by the way, of course, where Rabbi Nachman derives mitzvah gedolah lios b'simcha tamid, that a person should be happy all the time. It comes from this pasuk. It comes from this piece of the Shulchan Aruch and of the Ramah. So this tamid, that we have to be b'simcha tamid, that we should be b'simcha tamid. Where do we learn it from? We learn it from Purim Katan, from tomorrow, which means that there's an extreme association, connection between Purim Katan and this concept of simcha tamid. So it's the Shulchan Aruch starts off with tamid, ends with tamid. What does the word tamid mean? So if we look in the Torah, we have a mitzvah that there should be a ner tamid. Now, interestingly enough, ner tamid, which sounds like it was always burning, it wasn't always burning. There was a time every day where it wasn't burning, where the Kohen Gadol would clean out the glass of the menorah, clean them out, and then relight them. And the korban tamid was a korban which was given every single day, right? It's given every day in the morning and ben harabayim, by mincha time. It's given on Pesach, it's done on Sukkot. So, but the word tamid doesn't mean 24/7. The word tamid means constantly, consistently. It means we're constantly striving to bring ourselves to this place of simcha. A person cannot be happy all the time. A person who doesn't experience sadness, frustration, is never really experiencing happiness. In order to experience happiness, we also have to experience other emotions also. But when we're in that place, we are looking to go out towards simcha. We are looking to have the leiv tov, we're in a party. So not every minute of a party is always wow, right? There are parts that are quieter, parts that might not be so comfortable. But we recognize, we're cognizant that we're at a party. This is something good. Parts of life might not always be pleasant, might not always feel good, but that's part of the big picture of being in this great banquet of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, Parshas Kisisa is always the Parsha of Purim. And if we look at Parshas Kisisa, we see tremendous connection to Purim, a lot of hints to Purim, and we also see tremendous connections to Purim Katan. Okay, let's start. Let's go through Echad Echad. My papers are about to blow away. Okay, so first of all, Parshas Kisisa, the Pnei Menachem says, is an Eis Ratzon betoch Eis Ratzon. It is such an auspicious time for tefillah. In Parshas Kisisa, we are taught the Yud Gimel Midos Harachamim. We are taught the 13 attributes of mercy. These are 13 attributes when Klal Yisrael sinned with the golden calf. This is what redeemed, what brought Klal Yisrael out of the golden calf. And this week, when we're reading the Yud Gimel Midos Harachamim on Shabbos, this entire week is an Eis Ratzon betoch Eis Ratzon. Now, this month is the 13th month. Other Aleph is the 13th month, not Other Beis, Other Aleph. That means right now we're in 13. This is a tremendous hashpa influence of the Yud Gimel Midos Harachamim, of mercy. When we say Umin Noisar Kankanim Nasanes La Shoshanim, we say that on Hanukkah, and we say on Purim Shoshanes Yaakov and Shushan. The Shoshana is Chazal tell us in the Zohar HaKadosh. Shoshana is a flower with 13 petals. It represents Klal Yisrael. It represents the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. So in a Iber Yor, in a leap year, when we have a 13th month, it is an infusion of extra Rachamim. And it's up to us to tap into that, especially this week. Now, interestingly enough, in Parshas Kisisa, which the word Kisisa means when you will lift up, which it means count. Okay? Parshas Kisisa means when you lift up. But really, within Parshas Kisisa, we don't see so much lifting up. We see a downfall. Klal Yisrael, most of the parsha is about sinning with the Chet HaEgel, the aftermath of it, including the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. In fact, it even says in the parsha twice, raid, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, raid ki shiches amcha, go down Moshe. And you are going to go down. You're going down from your place of being able to live 40 days without eating and drinking, a superhuman life. You can't do that anymore because your nation, Shiches, has sinned with the golden calf. So we have a very interesting idea in the parsha also, and that is in this week's parsha, how do Klal Yisrael end up sinning from the Chet HaEgel? By miscalculating. Ki boshesh Moshe lovo. How does Klal Yisrael end up sinning in the story of Purim in the Megillah? Well, because they miscalculated, right? Haman miscalculated, and they agreed with his miscalculation. So as excuse me, as Klal Yisrael miscalculates in this week's parsha and ends up sinning with the Chet HaEgel and having to do tshuva and re-accepting the Torah, getting the Luchos Shnios, we have the same thing with Klal Yisrael on Purim. They go to the party, which is based on a miscalculation of the 70 years. They descend to a place of deep despair, of turning to other deities, of wanting to be Persian, of abandoning their identity. And we know that the resolution after their tshuva is Kimu v'kiblu haYehudim. They re-accepted the Torah, and just like they did in this week's parsha, by receiving the second luchos. Now, the second luchos were given on Yom Kippurim, right? And we know that Yom Kippurim is almost like Purim. Okay, so again, we have another amazing connection in this week's parsha. We also have in this week's parsha the hint to Mordechai, more dror, which is part of the ingredients which make up the shemen hamishcha, the oil which was used to consecrate and anoint the different vessels in the Mishkan. More dror, this is the hint of Mordechai. The shemen hamishcha, Rashi explains, made things great. It elevated things. So too, Mordechai elevated Klal Yisrael from such a low place. And in fact, in this week's parsha, where we have the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, Hashem kelchanon verachum erech apayim Rav Chesed. Rav Chesed is the gematria of Mordechai. And then Rav Chesed la'alofim noitzar Chesed. The nun is big, and the Zohar HaKadosh tells us the reason why the nun is big, because it is coming to tell us 50, the 50th level, the highest level of encountering HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is the level of Mi Yoidea, who knows? Mi Yoidea im la'es kazois higat lamalchus. Mi Yoidea is when a person comes to a place of Ad Lo Yada, when they don't know, when they realize, I don't know anything, right? I know nothing. I'm Soymech an HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I know nothing. The more I know, I don't know. And this is, of course, the 8th Gavoya Chamishim Amma, the 50 cubit high tree that that Haman intended to hang Mordechai on, and in the end, Haman, v'nahafechu, everything was turned around. So the nun is enlarged in Noitzar Chesed, la'alofim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates and recreates Chesed to thousands. That big nun is hinting to Purim. Now, the word Chesed, right? If we take 13, which is the 13 Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, times Chesed 72, it equals 936. 936 is the gematria of Asher Yishletu HaYehudim from the Megillah, where the Asher Yishletu HaYehudim Hema V'Seinehem. Everything was turned around, and instead of the goyim and despair and depression ruling over us, Asher Yishletu HaYehudim, we ruled over them. Now, if you take the first letters of Asher Yishletu HaYehudim, we have the word Aye Mekoim Kavodah, the famous teaching of Rabbi Nachman, who teaches us that whenever a person is in a place of Hester Panim, right, which is the Megillah, Hester Panim, Aster Panai Vayom Hahu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, in that day I will conceal myself, not just conceal myself, I will wear a mask over my mask. That's the hint to Esther Hamalka in the Torah. So when the Asher Yishletu HaYehudim, when a person is in this place of Hester Panim, Rabbi Nachman teaches us they should just call out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, where are you, Hashem? And the minute they call out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's when we know that we found HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just like Esther Hamalka did, as she's walking towards Achashverosh, and she's coming closer and closer to Achashverosh, and she feels the tumah, the tremendous impurity surrounding the palace of Achashverosh, and she calls out, Keli, Keli, lama azavtani, my God, why have you abandoned me? And it's a very interesting thing that on Purim, that song is sung fast. Like Keli, Keli, lama azavtani. It's jumping up and down and singing. Why is it festive? It should be the opposite. It should be some sad song with a violin. Why is it so exciting? It's so exciting because the minute Esther Hamalka screams out, Keli, Keli, she realizes HaKadosh Baruch Hu is right here with me, even in this tremendous hasara. Now we see Yud Gimel appears in the Megillah in another 2 places, and that is the day that Haman cast the lot was Yud Gimel Nisan, right? I guess he didn't have to check his house for Chomet. On Yud Gimel Nisan, Haman is made the lottery, and it fell on Yud Gimel Adar, right? So 13, all of these 13 come to teach us something. And in fact, the Zohar HaKadosh tells us something incredible, that when Yosef HaTzadik hid his Gavia in the sack of Binyamin, Gavia is the gematria of, you guessed it, 13, Yud Gimel, the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, times 72, times Chesed. And what he was doing was, Yosef was putting the ability to bring this tremendous Chesed in the sack of Binyamin. It will be Binyamin's descendants, Esther and Mordechai, who are going to bring this great salvation to Klal Yisrael. And how does the great salvation happen? Through a gavia, through a cup of wine. Okay, so all of these incredible connections between the parsha, the 13 Yud Gimel Harachamim, and there's even more, right? We have in the end of the parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu comes down and receiving the second luchos. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu puts on a mask. Why? Because Keren or Panav, his face was just radiating light. Well, that's Purim. Purim, we wear masks. La Yehudim Haisa'ira. The Jews had light. We had an abundance of light, which came down into the world. So Another incredible teaching of Reb Nosson Nimerov, the prime disciple of Rabbi Nachman, is he teaches us that the word Purim comes from a lashon of perurim, crumbs, and he points us to a Agadata in Meseches Avodah Zarah Daf Zayin, which says, quotes a pasuk from Eov. I hope I'm quoting the pasuk right, which says, "Kipido lahem shua." Hakadosh Baruch Hu will be for us like the beak of a chicken. That will be our salvation. What does this mean? So the Gemara tells us, "Kemo hatarnagol hazeh," just like this chicken shemenaker ba'ashpa that pecks around in the garbage, and by pecking around in the garbage, it puts together a meal. And in fact, never ever tell your kids they eat like a bird, because birds eat 7 times their body weight a day. But how do they eat it? In crumbs, tiny little crumbs, a crumb here, a crumb here. So too our Kodesh Baruch Hu tells us, I'm going to take all your crummy mitzvahs, a smile here, a bracha there, a vitur over there, your tznius here, a little, you added a little bit more tznius. I'm going to take all your crumbs, umitzarfam mecheshbon gadol, depositing mitzvahs in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's bank. The interest which HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays us back is tenfold. You think you're doing something little, you think you're doing something insignificant, you think it's a crumb. From there comes Yeshua. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took our little pieces of tshuva during the time of Purim, all our perurim, and put them together into the Yeshua of Purim, Lashon Perurim, little, little, little. So tomorrow is going to be Purim Katan. You think it's a little day? It's not a little day. It's a huge day. It's a day with a Yud Gimel Midas, and today also, today is Yud Gimel. The Yud Gimel Midas are pulsating, because it's Purim, and because everything about Purim is 13, and because it is the week of Kisisa, which is the week of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. So it's pulsating. And you know, on Purim itself is noisy, right? It's not Katan, it's big, it's busy. Tomorrow is not busy. Tomorrow is quiet. And in fact, the Abu Durham says, very interesting halacha brought down the Abu Durham. I think we should all go according to the Abu Durham. The Abu Durham says that women, specifically women, should not work on Purim Katan. Rather, we should utilize the day for Torah, for Tefillah, to organize our minds, to bring Mashiach Berachamim. It's the week of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. It's the month of Adar, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Adur, I'm coming to live with you. So let's roll out the red carpet. Let's put up the welcome home signs already. Ruchim habayim, Baruch haba HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is Purim Katan. This is what we have tomorrow. So good things come in small packages. It's the 13th month. Today is the 13th day of the 13th month, the week of the Midas Harachamim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us continued siyata d'shmaya, that we should always be me'oreh rachamim. And just I want to end on one note. What is rachamim? What does the word rachamim mean? We're always asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for rachamim. And we know that we live on rachamim. Rachamim comes from the word rechem, which is the womb. The womb is the place which the most change ever takes place in our lives. We go from being some kind of organic material the size of a piece of a grain of rice into being a person. That's rachamim. Rachamim means HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us the opportunity to change and to fix, to evolve. Give us the opportunity to change. Believe in us. Give us the belief in ourselves that we could change. Give us the belief in others that they could change as well. That is what we're asking us, and this is what Nashim are experts in. As the Gemara tells us, Nashim Rachmaniyostain. This is our profession. We are merciful. Merciful doesn't mean, oh, I feel so bad for you. Merciful means, I believe in you. I believe you can change. I believe that I could change. I believe the whole world could change. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu could infuse us with the koyach of tshuva. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu infuse us with this koyach of rachamim. May we be zeichet to the geula berachamim. I don't remember the name of the yeled that we're davening for right now. Eliezer. Could someone maybe write it in the thing? That Eliezer.
It's Emet Eliezer ben Miriam.
Emet Eliezer ben Miriam. He should have a refuah shalema, refuah hanefesh, refuah haguf. Everything should go kishura. Be'ezus Hashem. he should be zoichet to see the Beis Hamikdash b'mheira b'yameinu, to bring a korban toida for his refuah shlema b'mheira b'yameinu, and besoch shar chole Yisrael, all the other cholim and all of the Yeshuos that we need. Have a wonderful, wonderful Yontiv, a Chag Sameach, and a good Shabbos, and a Freilichen Purim.
Wow, amazing,
Wow.
amazing as always. You're amazing as always. Thank you for allowing us to be zochet to your beautiful Torah and to, thank you so much. And I know the Mesiras Nefesh of how you had to do it, where you did it. So thank you so much, Shoshie. That was so beautiful and so inspiring. And thank you for the words of chizuk and helping us to really reach that place of mamish rachamim, real rachamim for each other, and rachamim that we know that we can change, and we believe in ourselves and we believe in each other. So on